Hello there and welcome back to yet another episode. I just decided to give you guys an update on what then happened when we took off the head and sent it to the machine shop. Now initially I want to fully disclose that that is not what I wanted to do in the first place. I didn't want to send it to the machine shop. I believed that it was fine. I believed that it was fine. What I believed is that because as I was removing the bolts, the head bolts, I noticed that some of them were not even torqued correctly. If I'd given my missus to remove the head, she could have done that without even breaking a sweat. I was expecting that I was going to use a lot of effort in order to remove, but it was pretty much easy. It was just butter, as I would want to put it, right? It was pretty much easy. So after having removed the head, what I thought was that, simply we just need to change the head gasket. We put back the head, we spruce it up, everything should be perfect, and we should be good to go. Remember, when we removed previously, as you noticed that the car was making power, and indeed, yes, it was making lots of power. We took it to the track, and I had my GoPro recording all the time. Even when we did our launches, it showed that it was doing somewhere in the 13s, somewhere in the 13s, somewhere there. That's how it was. That's how it was performing. But I didn't want to get excited about that because at that time, that was after the turbo was done, and I didn't want to get excited about that because I felt like I needed an independent sensor in order to tell me if how the car is performing is actually correct, the quarter mile time if it's correct, and how much time it's taking to reach 120 or 100 whatever kilometers per hour, if that was pretty much accurate. So I needed something independent, something to actually check that that is indeed correct. Anyways, I think by tomorrow we've got some equipment that is coming through which we are supposed to be using to measure how your vehicles are performing, but we are going to measure also my own vehicles are going to measure, see if they're performing correctly, if that's how that's happening and so forth. So at least I'll have two sensors working in parallel, and we'll be able to tell if the performance is correct or the information is not correct. Yeah, so pretty much when we took the head, we took it to the machine shop. Shout out to the guys at Ophi Howard. They're the guys who did the head. The expression that he gave me is because what he pretty much told me is that your head was like this. That's what he told me. So it was pretty much warped, and some of the valves were not sitting correctly. I think for the cylinders which are in between there, I think your third and fourth or something, they were not, the valves of those cylinders were not sitting properly. Maybe that could be why the car sometimes was making some misfiring, I guess, which we couldn't figure out. Of course, it was even worse when we had so much boost leaks, but when we sorted the boost leaks, there wasn't that anymore. So probably that is why. So, and as we were just discussing with the guys at Ophi Howard, they also told me that pretty much when you see a head gasket that would have been, I mean, if you see a head that is warped, obviously it means the car ran at very high temperatures. Most likely the oil lost its viscosity, and also it might mean that something might be happening around the bearings area, and that needs to be checked. You could be lucky the bearings are fine, you could be lucky they're okay, but definitely it's better to have it checked. Now, I didn't have any bearing issues. I had somebody check, like I said before, but it's probably better to just give them, they have got equipment where they're able to measure and test any deviations by a micro speck or whatever that is. They'll be able to measure if there are any small deviations, and that can be corrected. So we're going to be taking the block. We're going to be taking the block to them, but first of all, let me just get the camera to focus. Just want to show you the head. All right. So this is the head. It has just come back. You can see it's pretty much cleaned up. Looks almost brand new. They did a fantastic job. Before, of course, I don't remember if I took videos or pictures of the head before, but it looked like something that came out of the gutter. That's what I want to say. It looked like something that came out of the gutter. I wasn't even proud of taking any pictures or videos of it, but anyways, it looks better now. So I think I kind of understand why some projects never end, because when you start them, like what we have done right now, we've taken the engine completely apart now. At this point, it's completely apart, because now we are saying if we're just taking the head off, that was fine, but now even the bottom end, everything is now completely apart. So now, because once you've done that, once you've opened up all that stuff, once you've taken everything apart, just for you to put everything back, you're not thinking to yourself, look, I might as well do this, I might as well do that, I might as well upgrade this so that this doesn't happen again. Like for example, when we took the head, we just said to ourselves, look, this is just going to be a skim job, it shouldn't take them time, but I then it just came to my mind to say that, look, whilst he's doing that, these guys are a professional machine shop, might as well get them to check if the valves are sitting correctly, might as well get them to check if the clearances are good. They might as well, and if they're checking the valves and checking the clearances, they might as well just replace the stem seals, which is what they did. The stem seals were just fine, but they ended up doing everything. Now the bottom end again is going to be taken apart, and if they tell me that something is off, even just one thing is off, they are going to have to do we're going to have to upgrade the bearings. Probably I'm going to get those race bearings which can take more boost, sort of. Maybe that's how we're going to end up doing. But I kind of understand why some projects take time, because when you're doing this, when you're building a car that you've always wanted, when you're building a car that you've always had passion with, putting everything together is not just a quick job. This is not a taxi, right? This is not like one of those, daily cars that, is supposed to send kids to the school, is supposed to send the missus to go buy groceries, is supposed to go to the in-laws. No, this is not that. This is a car that I'm building because I want to enjoy it, genuinely enjoy it, right? I've always wanted this car for a very long time, and you're gonna get to a point where you want everything to be perfect now, right? So now that the engine is off, I'm thinking to my head, okay, so what else could we sort out whilst the engine is off? Okay, so now we're pretty much on my computer. Remember what I said, I was gonna do a video. We're gonna talk about the cost. So this is the video. I'm gonna talk about costs. I'm gonna try to be as transparent as possible by giving you as much detail as I can. I know somebody else out there could be thinking they want to do a 1JZ swap, or they want to do a 1JZ build like I did, and they're trying to think how much is it going to cost. So I don't want this to end up being a demotivation video by the numbers that you might end up seeing. Pretty much I'm sure it is possible to get. I'll try to give as much advice as I can, because I've done it. I've seen the cost involved, and maybe try to help you avoid some of the mistakes that I've made. If you've been watching my videos, I think I've pretty much given out so much information to a point that anybody who listens, anybody who follows, they may have picked out one or two things, right? So let's just get into the spreadsheet without wasting time. So I'm going to talk about the Mark II, right? Because the costs are still fresh in my head. This is the latest build that I've been working on. The Alteza, pretty much we did it a long time ago. Daily driver, whatnot. So I would have to research. I would have to pull out from there's a big box that I keep all the invoices, and then I'll check how much things were costing, how much I got it together. But what I do remember very well is I bought the engine. It landed at a cost of 2,600 right in my on my driveway, and I've never had a problem with that engine. That's what I can say. In fact, it was the best engine they had there in South Africa, the company that sold me. Anyways, let's talk about the Black Mamba. So this is how much it costs, right? This is it. So the car itself cost me 2,600. You could argue this was a bargain. Yes, it was, but I wouldn't be quick to say that. Then you go further, we got intercoolers for it, the intercooler plumbing, and all this we were paying pounds, but I did a rough conversion of US dollars as to how much that was at the time. I don't know how much it is right now if you try to check from people who actually sell these things. So then we got your tappet cover, tappet seals, and your rear main seals. They were pretty much leaky when we pulled out the motor, so we replaced that. We upgraded the pump, Walbro pump, timing covers. It didn't have any covers in front there, which was a hazard. Remember, I told you that when I got the engine, when I got the vehicle, I only drove it. The most I did is probably what, 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers, and that was it. And it was parked for several months, trying to get everything together. One of the issues why is because the timing there, it was pretty much open, so that you could actually see the timing belt. A rock could easily get into the timing gears, and it would then cook up a nasty problem there. So I was really afraid to drive it, but the guy who had it was driving it every day, and he had no, but for me I couldn't do that. So then we had to replace the entire ignition system. We changed the coil packs, replaced them with the NGKs, the originals. Locally they were very expensive. This could have probably been 300, easily 300, 350. I bought the leads from the UK. They cost about 80 pounds, and then the other stuff I bought locally. So all in all it came to about 260, that I remember very well. And then the radiator, I removed the fan shroud because it was in shit condition. Not a fan shroud. Oh yes, the fan shroud went away, yes. And also the cowling fan, we removed it. They were in horrible condition. I even wonder how the car was able to cool itself. I don't think it was able to cool itself very well, as what is now happening is what we are now seeing now. So we changed the radiator. We bought another fan shroud from a friend of mine. We used a fan shroud for the Toyota Altezza, and we got a radiator for the GS300. Is it GS300? Yes, I think so, yes. Which is a double, what do they call it? Double core radiator. You know, it's pretty good. I've been using it on my Altezza for a long time. No problems, no issues. I've been everywhere. In the country, I've never had an issue. And then we did a gearbox swap. We swapped from automatic to manual. The reason why we swapped is because the gearbox could not get into reverse. That automatic transmission it came with, it wasn't getting into reverse. I have no idea why. Maybe if I tried to figure out, maybe I could have figured it out, but I didn't want to waste my time and energy on that. So I pretty much remove the gearbox. Right now I have it. It's sitting on my driveway. Somebody came through. He actually wanted it, but I didn't want to kill my reputation by selling a bad gearbox to somebody. I didn't want to do that, so it's pretty much sitting there. It's almost the same as your Toyota Hiaces, your 2005, 2006, 2007 Toyota Hiaces. I'm told they're the same gearbox. So going further, we bought the ZF transmission from the UK. Then they were cheap. I'm not so sure now how much they are costing, but when I bought it, it was 300 pounds, I think 350 pounds. But I figured now the prices are going up for some reason. Maybe they know what you are using these gearboxes for, and the demand is going up. And then what was expensive was the adapter kit, which was the plate, which came with the flywheel, clutch plate, and so forth and so forth. All that, I think it came to about 1,300, rough about. And then we had to get a short shifter. I couldn't afford PMC's short shifter because it cost, I think, well over 300 bucks, something like that. And then there were other sundries, of course. I'm talking about your clutch tubes, the clutch itself, the clutch pedal, and so many things that we had to get from the junkyard and so forth, and some cables and so forth and so forth. I think I would like to estimate that all the other sundries, even the oil that we used and so forth, all that came to about 200, including the person who then fabricated a bracket that holds the transmission underneath. I think all in all, I can say we paid close to about 200 for all that stuff. And then comes the prop shaft. Prop shaft was done by National Prop Shaft Center. They did a discount for me simply because they've done other vehicles for me, so I ended up paying about 100 bucks for the prop shaft. They had to shorten it, and I had to join this with a BMW transmission, a BMW prop shaft. I had to join it somehow, and it worked. right? Because it has got a funny flange. I don't know how BMW likes doing their things. They like putting flanges on things. So it had a flange by just after the gearbox. So usually with your normal Toyota transmission, they're just splines which just go and fit in without a problem. But this one has got splines. The pieces of the prop shaft I got them free of charge from my uncle who runs a BMW shop. And again, I want to thank him a lot, because if it wasn't for him, some of the technical information about these gearboxes I didn't have. So shout out to him. Thank you very much for that. Then we go further. We also then did a turbo upgrade. The turbo upgrade done by Turbo Solutions. It cost me about 650. Paint job as well, 650. Front bumper for the Mark II. Mark II is a very ugly car that I know very well, and if it wasn't for the front, it could have been a better looking car, but the front is really ugly. So I had to find the best looking front I could find, and I found it from the drift shop, and all in all it cost us about 500 bucks including shipping. Initially I didn't want to use this Mark II. I thought I was going to take the engine and put it in another vehicle. I thought I could find a Chaser or something like that, because the Chaser looks beautiful, it looks nicer. In fact, there's nothing much that you need to do. A simple paint job and some wheels, you'll be good to go. But with the Mark II, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So I figured that, you know what, and I saw that the monies were just going to be, it was just going to be expensive to do that move. So might as well find a way to make that Mark II look beautiful. And then I decided to go with the front bumper and then lower it with some coilovers, and then we put some wheels. We did the suspension and some wheels. So when I'm talking about suspension and wheels, I think what I'm referring to here is I'm talking about the nice rims that you saw, including the tires as well. And then also we did suspension because something was off with the bushes as well, so that is covered there. Then we did the coilovers. The coilovers which I got, these are Tien Coilovers. This is not the price of Tien Coilovers. Actually, there's a friend of mine who helped me get these. There's a guy in Mozambique who was braking a car which had coilovers. It was in very good condition, so he hit me up and said, look, I've got nice coilovers, I know you're building, if you want you can come pick them up. We made the deal. They sent them through a truck driver was coming from Mozambique, so that was a plus for me. I managed to save, and I'm pretty much running on those coilovers, no problems whatsoever. They make the car feel so good. And then quite recently, as you saw, we put some gauges, simply because we are trying to build onto we're trying to achieve more power from the car, so I needed an AEM wideband. This is supposed to say wideband, which cost me about 300 bucks, and then came the gauge pod, and then also the water and temperature gauges, which is about 80 bucks. So all in all, that came to about 460. That whole gauge setup. Now the story is, so this is, I think I'm not sure which episode it was, maybe episode 19, or when you saw us testing, this is where we were at. We were right at here, right? And I was thinking to myself, okay, so what comes after is something that we were not expecting. I think I explained that in the previous episode. We didn't expect that we were going to tear the engine apart, take it apart, but just because now we have to tear it apart, we might as well. There are some issues that we noted, and we started sorting out some issues. So already we've improved. We've bought it a new water pump. We've also bought it, because that one was cracked, we also bought an oil pump for it. I'm not confident with that oil pump, current oil pump, because I think it's the one that makes a funny sound when I start the car in the morning, and I don't like that sound at all. Now cylinder head work, which was done, it cost us about 170, and then the gasket from Toyota cost us about 200. Now they've discounted. Toyota has started to give me some discounts, and shout out to those guys. Shout out to the guys at Aris Auto. They're the ones who gave me a discount, because initially, although it wasn't much, but I have to at least acknowledge that they gave me a discount, and shout out to them for that. This head gasket, they told me that I was supposed to pay like 230, but they ended up discounting me by about 20 bucks, which is okay. I can't really. It's probably the second head gasket that I've bought from them. over the period that I've owned JZs. I think I may have mentioned that the Altezza that I drive, I also changed the head gasket. I just wanted to be happy that everything is perfect, so I just changed the head gasket for it. So that's pretty much where we are at. Most of my parts, I get them through Toyota. I get them through RS Auto actually. I want to get as original parts as possible. That way I know that I will not have problems in the future. It's always best to put the original parts, Toyota original parts. They are very good, especially for this 1JZ, 2JZ. So if you look the total, this is where it has come to. And I'll tell you that whilst it has come to this, we haven't done this overnight. We've done this over a period of time. This car, it is probably getting to about a year now. Still, many of you have not even seen it on the road. We've just driven it short distances. We've just, and we're just tying things together. I'm not so sure when it's going to be seen, when we're going to be done. Obviously, more costs are going to be coming, but as where we are at, this is how much it has cost us. And obviously, all these costs that I've tabled out, they are not all of them, actually, to be honest, because some of the stuff, I couldn't put a value to them, because some of them has come because of the friendships that I've managed to, the friendships that I have. For example, I got an LSD transmission, a limited slip diff from a friend of mine, right? Free of charge. Those LSDs, they're pretty much expensive. Google them. Google how much a Tosen diff costs. It costs a lot of money, and I'm very much grateful of that. Some of them have come in form of people who have been helping me put these things together, stitch them together. Again, I didn't put the labor cost, how much anything cost in terms of labor there, because most of it were being done by ourselves and also by some friends who have been coming through, especially for things that which I don't know so well. They would come, they would assist me, technical know-how. Sometimes they would, even as we are just enjoying an afternoon, we start doing something together. They enjoy doing it, I enjoy doing it. So this, I can't put a value to that. But the fact that this has been through friends and we've been having a good time doing this, you can't put a value to that, honestly. You can't put a value to this. So that's pretty much where we are at. So just know that some costs, I haven't even put them there. We can't even put a value to them, because some things have come for free, some things have come through friendships, and you can't put a value on friendship. Now, if you want to ask me the question that would I have bought this car again? Yes, definitely. I would have probably bought it because I love it. But I just want to caution you, if you're going to be buying a Mark II or a Chaser with a 1JZ locally, these things get pretty expensive. Especially the parts, you're going to notice that 2JZs and 1JZ parts are very expensive. You want to get I think I've told you guys so many times, even some of you guys have come to me personally wanting to know how much it has cost me to build these cars, how much it has cost to put these things together. You want a car you want a JZ that is as complete as possible. No missing sensors, no missing wiring, no missing ECU, no missing what, because if you look at those things, they are bloody expensive. I just want to give you an example. Let's just go on B Forward website. I just want to go on B Forward website. We just go on parts for Toyota, and we just say 1JZ. I want to say 1JZ ECU. Just want to show you how expensive these things are, right? Toyota 1JZ GTE ECU. This is actually cheap in my opinion, 578. But sometimes you see them, they cost as much as like this one. Look at this one, almost 2,000 for a control unit for a manual, right? Bloody expensive, right? Bloody expensive things, right? So you want a car that is complete. You see, 500, even 500, $600. That's not even cheap. This isn't for an automatic. It's not cheap. It's a lot of money. And sometimes you would have thought I got it at a bargain. $600 is just an engine only, but you need the ECU. It's going to be very expensive. So my advice to you is you want something which is as complete as possible, because the costs are very high for these things. So much demand. People with lots of money in the US are buying these engines, and they've got a lot of money to spend. So they're going to be expensive. So, and if you're buying locally, if you just want to avoid problems like the build, like our Alteza build, no problems whatsoever, just get one from South Africa, get it from a reputable seller, right? And you ask them to give you the best engine they have. They will find you a good one, they will give you one, and I assure you it's going to be a very good engine. It's going to be a very good engine, right? So once you get that, you're going to find out that it is by far cheaper in my view, because locally you're going to find, by the time somebody is selling their JZ, some of the times it's probably because the car has got catastrophic issues. Maybe they overheated the engine or something like that, or they had some issues and now they're trying to get rid of it, trying to get some money back or something like that. So you're going to see that there's going to be some money that you need to spend to put it back into proper condition. And like I said, JZs can be very expensive. So when you're buying one locally, just assume you're going to be, whatever you're going to be doing is exactly what we have done here at the DPF team. You're going to take out everything and start from scratch, right? So if you negotiate from that point of view, if you get a car with that mentality, probably you might be able to try to negotiate a good deal or something like that. I don't know, but pretty much you have to be careful about local buys. That's all I can say. And if you can get one that you can import through, which is the best engine they can find for you, you save yourself stress. And now obviously how we've been doing with our cars, some people may do it cheaper, some people may be able to do it cheaper, I have no idea, but me, I'm targeting the highest quality of build that I can put together, so that at the end of the day I don't have problems. At the end of the day I can enjoy this car without having to even having to think twice that I want to go drive and I want to go far away or something like that. So I guess that's that, and I hope this video you found it useful. Sorry that it had to be quite a very long video, but I know I'd promised and I've just delivered upon my promise. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.